Skoot Moesby, man. Earn your spot before earn is your spot, baby. We out.
I just wanna fly away, fly away, fly away. And I'm sorry that I wasn't there for you when I needed to be, and you were my biggest inspiration. You were my motivation. You were everything that I seen in me. You did it before I did. I should have listened before you died. But instead, as a young man, all I want to do is argue with you about where I was going. You told me to go to college. I felt like you wouldn't let me be me. Me and you had a fallout. And then I found out that you weren't going to be here tomorrow. And all I could think about was the tears that I shed that one time. That one time, and that one time made it feel like a lifetime. That lifetime felt like eternity. That eternity felt like my depression was going into an abyss. I didn't know if I was going to be able to make myself feel better. I didn't know if my family would understand where I was coming from. When I walked down to watch you in that casket, all I could remember was how you felt. The day that I told you that I wasn't going to do what you asked me. The day I told you you would not be here to watch me succeed. When I told you that I'm turning my back on you. After everything that you've done for me, I have to now apologize. I don't pray as much as I used to. Because praying is like me praying on the weak. I don't want you to feel like you were weak, so I stayed to myself. And I don't know if I'm going to make it till tomorrow, but I do know this. I've grown up, and I think you'd be proud of the man I am today. I just wanna fly away, fly away, fly away.
It's just a lot of teams make it feel like they're not working together, where they make it feel like it's more just two dudes rapping almost
Right.
separately against the same opponents.
Well, I feel like the way because 2-on-2s used to be like that. They used to be like one
Yeah,
person would have
exactly. Like in
to
like
be there.
Scribble Jam and like even in Grind
They
Time and
used to be
stuff.
like that, but now I feel like because you credit to K-Shine DNA. You see that like now you can open up the field a little bit more
They're
and
a lot
then
more creative.
and you can and because of that like you have a level of like boom 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 boom. You know what I'm saying? Like now you have 2-3 different people doing the same thing.
K-Shine and
Yeah,
DNA really innovate, I feel like, when it comes to their battles.
and
Like they did the thing when they were out in London where DNA was like a doctor and K-Shine was a mental patient. And like
now yeah against
that wasn't my favorite thing that they did.
Hitman and Verb,
Yeah,
Hitman and Verb.
wasn't my favorite thing that they did, but the fact that they can get creative and do something like that in a two
Yeah,
on
that's definitely
two
it's
is
also, but
interesting.
but even with that, like if you look at how Hitman and Verb ended up doing 2-on-2s when they battled um, DNA and K Shine. It was like, oh man, like boom, like they had this they had a conversation.
Yeah.
They were doing the conversation thing. But when you look at when they went to Smack and did it, and then they had like the hold up, let me remix it, and then the just the way they started to let the other one kind of play the roles that they want to play. I think people have to realize like, yo, what's your role in a 2-on-2?
Yeah.
Are you gonna play the front or the back? And like, can you like the reason why DNA and K-Shine works so well is because they can switch. If you watch the battle, you can see who controls the pace of the 2-on-2. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like DNA, when they wanna do something, you can tell DNA is kind of the forefront of that 2-on-2, and then you have K-Shine kind of coming in on the back just kind of using his punching skills and the scheme around it. Even if K-Shine wrote the bars, you can tell when and who is writing what round and who's in control. Like there is a control factor to a 2-on-2 where someone is playing the field like in the front. Like someone's got the knife and someone's got the sniper. You know what I'm saying? Someone's running point. And I think as a look at Hollow and Lux. You can clearly, if you really watch Hollow and Lux, you can clearly see who wrote what and who's in control when.
Easily.
You can clearly see. You know what I mean? Like the second round is clearly Lux's round. That's the round that Lux put the most time into. He ran point on the majority of that round.
Yeah.
So most things came from the Lux angle, and was able. You could tell Lux was running point on stage. However, you know when Hollow put his input in a round. You know, like not just on his performance, but on the writing scale. You know, if you've watched someone long enough, you know how they write.
Exactly.
You know what bar was said where, like, that we gonna bury him too. That's a hollow line. That's a hollow punch. It's clearly a hollow line that Lux made his own, right?
Yeah.
In round one, you could clearly see Hollow had a lot of influence, just like in round two, Lux had a lot of influence. And round three, you could tell they just struggled on what to do. So they just was like, you know what, let's just combine it and battle each other and get this out the way and see how it
That was interesting. But that's
because
another thing that you can only do in 2-on-2s is stuff like that. Stuff that you won't see
so,
anywhere else in battle rap.
So I think even with Saint and Doe, you can see who's running point, who's running the style at the time, and can you trust the person to run point when it's time to? Because if the person running point fucks up, right, the whole thing crashes down.
40 bars in E-Heart versus Jazz and Official. 40 bars, unfortunately, couldn't keep up, and that's a perfect example of.
If we're being honest, right, they didn't know who the hell was running point. Nobody. There was nobody. You know a good 2-on-2 when you can be like, all right, look at Jazz and Official. Jazz for most of it was running the point. She was the one in the forefront. Official came in when it was time to, and that allowed for them to kind of see and navigate the writing style between the two. When you're looking at like B Magic, I think writers, real pensmen, have hard time with being too. Chilla Jones and B Magic, they tried.
Yeah, they tried. Failed. Yeah, exactly.
Because when it was time for Chilla to run point, he couldn't get it off. And it was like, what the fuck? And the thing about it is, it's the Boston rappers that can't do 2-on-2. It's weird how like mainstream Boston rappers, the ones who choke on main stages, doing 2-on-2. So far, we've seen Chilla do it. It didn't work. We've seen 40 do it. It didn't work. And these were big looks and big events. So it's like, damn, what's going on? When you're looking at it and ironically, Boston is known for their penmanship. The way it's set up, Chilla Jones is kingpin. He's literally one of the best pens in battle rap, period. Top 2-3 pens in battle rap, period. 40 is the best pen in battle rap, female-wise, period. You can't argue these things. And I mean, no, you really can't argue these things. She's the best pen, and like, you know what I mean. And I mean, she did C4 kind of bad, but like that shows you her level of pen. You know what I mean? Like she can outright anyone at any time, any place, anywhere. She can just do that, and like when you're on that 2-on-2 stage, and it's time for you to be the main one running point, it's harder because you have to remember where your partner's at. You know what I mean? And as pensmen, you're used to taking the charge on your own. So you have to when you see Lux and Hollow are even I think they're even in pen, but they're equally even in performance. And they focused a lot more on the performance half of things than they did the penmanship. I feel like, I mean, not till the third round.
I feel like performance is more important in a 2-on-2. I feel like arguably performance is the more important skill in a 2-on-2. If you're not able to like perform your 2-on-2 well, that's something that lends to the like conduciveness of your team, how smooth everything looks on camera. You guys have to be able to perform as a unit. I don't want to see you sitting there, standing there, not doing anything and just spitting your bars because you're not entirely sure what you should be doing.
So, but if we look, that's what I'm saying. So when we look at Pensman's, right? They don't perform. Like
No.
Triller had this stigma on him that he can't perform. 40 also has that same stigma where she doesn't perform really well. She can write her ass off, but the performance sometimes is just off. Like they all have these stigmas. B Magic is another one. You know what I mean? Who has a stigma, but he, you don't expect him to go up there and like jump around the stage. You expect him to, and I'm gonna get it, and when I do, it's gonna. That's what you expect from him. So you have this like level of like, all right, Pens have a hard time, and if you don't have that aspect of performance, which I think Boston, especially now, have focused a lot more. Look at the local level. There's a lot more performance on the lower tier, like not Smack, than there are on the big stage. We have
some of the best performances I've seen are on the local level.
On the local level, like the Leapfrog from Saint and Doe to be the prime example. That's the when we were like, yo, damn, like they had to go ahead and take that to the man. But if you look, Saint and Doe they was already doing that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you look at like some of the best performances I've ever seen ever have been on the local scene. Hoodie Kruger and with the, you know what I mean, like the, Dre Lights. I mean, some of these
the best performance I've ever seen, honestly, was on a local level, but it was from Bill Collector, and his performance is so good that he can literally perform so well that you'll forget he's using an entire round that he spit like the day before. He battled 3SK, right? And his performance was fucking crazy. The whole like skate through jet skis, speed off jet ski type deal where he slid in, did like the whole thing. He was like, "When do you man to?" He had he came through like pointed something at Speen off camera. Like his performance was fucking crazy. Turns out that whole round though, he had not the whole round, but the majority of the round he had spit the day before at We Are Upstate to another kid, and there was like 3 or 4 people that had been at that event the day before that were at the premiere event, and after the event they were like, I didn't even realize because he was performing so well, but he spit like that whole round yesterday. But he was performing so well that the crowd was just captivated because he was going crazy. His performance was on like 20.
So when you look at how the like 2-on-2s work, there is like even Tay Rock and Chess. If you're really listening, you can see that Tay Rock is the A side.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's not, you know what I mean? So when you're looking at writers and you're looking at how writers and how they perform and how they mesh, you have that level of 2-on-2s, doubles. You know what I mean? Even poets do it. We do it all the time. I've had a few doubles with poets where, like, you know what I mean? In poetry, like, we do it and it's like, okay, you know what I mean? Those group poems are really hard because you have to have an A side.
Yeah, they got to be difficult. I've been to a couple of like poetry readings, but I don't think I've seen a doubles poetry thing live.
When you see it, it takes a lot because you have to know who's like the base of the poem is somewhere. You know what I mean? The base of the poem.
Yeah.
And you guys have to be on the same page, which means you have to agree on every line that's being said. For someone to take the lead, right? You have to be real experienced in how the performance is gonna work. You know what I mean? So when I go like if I was to perform with someone like, let me give a shout out to like Nava the Butterfly, right? If I was to perform with someone like her, the way things work is she would be the control of the performance. I know that I would have to be the energy. For that to switch, the poem has to switch for me not to be the energy. The poem has to be catered to the fact that I'm going to be stagnant and she's going to do all the running around. The way, so like, because I'm, you know what I mean, or there's so many poets. Me and this dude named D Ruff, for example. When you look at like D Ruff or whatever, you look at the way he, if I was to do a 2-on-2 with him, I would actually be the B side there. Like he would be the A side. He would be the energy. I'd have to be standing still. You have to know your balance and skill level and being like, okay, there's no confusion. I know that I'm going to be the B-side here. I know that the control of the poem is going to be in your hands. You're going to control it. I'm going to be able to run around you and like a kid, you know what I'm saying? Like the parent is usually the one that's like, all right, calm, cool, and collective. And then, you know, the child, although runs circles around, is going to eventually learn how to be calm, cool, and collective. That's kind of how poetry and I feel doubles work in poetry. It's like when it's like, you know, or you're giving that conversation piece where each person is hearing themselves. After this is over, I'll send you one of my favorite videos of a two-part poem where there's a conversation being had.
Yeah.
And the conversation is fucking fire. But it's the way it's done, you can tell if you're paying attention well enough, you can tell when the switch happens, when the controls are being switched over, and who has the control of the poem at the time. And the best poets who can do that are the ones who know, okay, I'm going to stay still. I'm going to be stagnant. I'm going to let you take control here. Here's where your opinion matters. Here's where my opinion matters. And when we write together, we can collab and put these poems together and make something super dope. I think in battle rap, the way 2-on-2s work is different. The idea of battle rap 2-on-2s is the one who has the better writing skills should not be the one in control ever. Because if that person is in control, there's a chance that when it comes time to performing, that person needs to be in the background. So they can, like, I don't care if 40, let's just say 40 wrote the whole fucking round. I don't care. E Hart should be the one in control on stage because the presence of being in URL and the presence in mind is E Hart. And let 40 kind of just come in when need to, like set the punches when need to, because 40 isn't the one that needs to be main staged. It's the same thing with Jazz and Official. Jazz was the one who's, you know what I mean? But Official, you know, if they both have, because you're stars. It doesn't matter. You're both stars anyway. So, you know, look at Surf and Rock. Surf and Rock is a perfect example of like, yo, we knew Surf was in control. Surf had the control of that battle. Rock was Lil Bro. For most of that battle, when the first one we saw, he was Lil Bro. But you know, you wanna when they did the what do I gotta spit it in gun titles or something? That's Rock. That's all Rock. You could tell the way it was written was all Rock, and being able to simplify it in that way. And you, if you look, Sue Surf wasn't the main guy spitting rounds like that. It was Rock. Rock was the one you remember in the face. He was the one always going, and that's how it plays out. So when you have two stars like that, stars have a hard time playing the back role. Kobe, Shaq, you know what I mean? R&B Kobe, like, you know what I mean? Michael Jordan, Pippen. A lot of stars have a hard time playing the background. And so when you're looking at, like, I want you to punch, you know what I mean? I want you to punch. You know, there's a certain caliber that comes in that comes into it. So you're looking at 2-on-2's poetry versus battle rap. Control can switch because it's just you two on the stage. But in battle rap terms, you can't switch the power from one place to the next until you get to the next round. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't. So
you can't do it in the middle of your round. It doesn't work.
Right. Reckless. If me and Reckless was to do a 2-on-2, for example, right? Hold on. Oof. If me and Reckless was to run a 2-on-2, right? Like, I would be running, you know, I might run point for the second and third, or maybe the third, right? And he might run point for the first and second, because if you look at the way his rounds are, Reckless's strongest rounds are the first and the second round. His thirds are usually the ones that tail off. They're still fire, but they're the ones those are the ones that tail off. So if I'm being honest, right? If we're, you know, I know that my third rounds are normally my strongest round. You know what I mean? Or the second and third is usually where. So you might see the the collaboration between the two in the second round. That's probably going to be the strongest round of the 2-on-2s is when, like you can scientifically place it that way because I'm going to write this way and you're going to write that way, or I'm going to be like one way or another. So you can really judge the caliber of a pen and the performance. Like we all know, if we're looking at me and Reckless is the better performer. He is by far the better performer. But it would be amazing to see, okay, look, he has a performance angle, right? And then I come in and I'm doing the performance angle while he's rapping you know what I'm saying? We could do something like that and switch roles, but you would know that the choreograph was probably from Reckless, not from Skoot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
If you watch them enough.
You can take, someone can, but someone has to take the lead of the round. You can't switch points people can't switch. So when you have like a DNA and K-Shine, you know what I mean? K-Shine and DNA, they work together so often, like at this point, they don't have to, they kind of just write together but you can see it. You can see it. DNA, the Monstars, for example, when they had the Monstars, DNA was on point.
Yeah.
K-Shine kind of played the background. For the majority of that, he played the background. If you go back and you look at some of these battles, you'll see it. And that's, especially when you're looking for it. When you're looking for it, you'll find it. And that's where you can clearly see on stage, this is better for you on stage. This is better for me on stage. Let's who's going to be in that level. You know what I mean? And then the conversations that happen after that. And it's natural, too. It's natural. That's why you need chemistry, because it's natural. It has to be natural. Like, you have to naturally be able to say, okay, yeah, you got that. Because that's hard for a writer and a performer.
Yeah, no, definitely. It definitely, you got to be able to, like, work well with someone and be able to make the concessions that you need to make sure that your team gets that W and that, the performance comes out the way that it should. And not just in a sense of like, I want to make sure I look good. You're now focused on, you have to focus on a we now. And it's like, we look good.
Like, you know what I mean? And that's one thing, like, if I can, like, I'm going to go on a quick little rant for a sec. Like, if we're looking at, like, the hardest thing I ever had to do as an artist, really, is switch between battle rap styles and poetry slam styles. Because poetry slam styles don't specifically work in battle rap. I can do them, and I can do them really well. Like, they have moments. You can have moments. Like, I did it with Dystopia. Like, like, you mentioned me being a poet, a spoken word artist. That's when I know how to paint a picture with just one pen, but I decided to use lead instead. Like, the way it can be done, but for the most part, you still have to rap.
Yeah, facts.
So you can't, like, that's why now that I've done it, right, I can say, I really hate when people say, oh, they took a poetry slam style approach to battle rap. It's like, no, they didn't. It's still rap. It's still a formation of rap. The cadence of slowing it down long enough for people to really understand it without beat is there. But if you put a battle rap verse on a beat, it still works. You can't do that for a lot of poems.
No, definitely, because I go to this spot called the Creative Zone, and like I see a lot of people reading like poetry there a lot for the open mic nights and stuff, and like you can tell, like it's different. There's similarities, but it's its own distinct thing. They're not the same. I couldn't take I couldn't take a battle rapper and stick them there and be like, all right, I want you to write a poem and perform a poem at this open mic night, do some poetry. They might not be able to do that. And if they do, it might not be what you're expecting. It might not be like it wouldn't be the same as like what everybody else is doing, because they come from a different realm. They come from a different style, and that's embedded in them.
So, you can't, so you have to, like, and that's why, like, for me, it's like people who go, I really appreciate your pen. It's actually really hard for me to write a battle verse, because I have to get out of the mindset of this is a poem. I have to change my entire writings. It's almost like, I don't know if you watch Avatar: The Last Airbender or whatever.
I have,
but,
yeah.
But like when Aang was trying to learn Earth, he just, for whatever reason, he struggled because it was the polar opposite of what he actually is used to. And that that's kind of how I feel it is with battle rap and poetry.
Yeah, that's actually a good example because I mean, like if you think about Earth is just a different type of bending that he's just not used to doing. Like it's the same, but it's completely different.
Yeah, it's writing is always going to be writing, right? Like
exactly.
I can use alliteration all day long in poetry, and people get the level of alliteration. In battle rap, alliteration doesn't technically matter if the punch isn't there.
Yeah.
See, battle rap is looking more for the double entendres, the way to get to the punch fast, the way to captivate the crowd, to make the crowd erupt quicker. Poetry is more like you need to dissect and digest the whole thing.
Yeah.
Before you can. That's why, like in battle rap, I can switch topics a million times in a round. Like I can shoot you 18 times in the same. You can die 100 times in the same fucking round. I can literally kill Andrew from High TV with a gat, a shotgun, then a bigger nine, and then I can kill him again with a knife, and then I can pull out the deuce, and then there's the revolver. I have so many. You've died like 9 times already. There's no way, like, and then just sprinkle a little bit of like, like a Bill Cosby reference, and then a superhero reference, and a wrestling reference, and a Ratchet reference, and like. But in poetry, that's frowned upon. Like that's like, man, you're just doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. Like you gotta actually write some. You gotta like flush that out. So, like certain things don't sit right with battle rappers. So if I tell a story in battle rap and it's not like if I go like one round that I thought everybody would get but didn't get was the round I did with scripture in the second round when I go into the Emmett Till scheme and I just you know what I mean, and it's like each round had a different subject matter, and that subject matter had a different cadence to it. It had it was poetry. It was poetically styled because scripture I can beat poetically. Right, because the story is there. I can create the narrative. The story is there, and at that time he had so many angles on him. It made sense. The same thing with Dystopia. I did the total opposite. Like I can take a scenario, break it down, create the angle, and then allow people to take whatever they want from that angle. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or Nino, but with Nino, I actually had to battle rap because there was no angles on him that made sense, and so now you have to like change the way you battle, and it's so different because in the styles of writing you can clearly see that I can go poetically, I can freestyle, I can go all these different manners, but ultimately it still has to captivate the fan. I still have to captivate the people in the room. And the way you captivate a battle rap crowd, they're looking for the punch. The way you captivate a poetry crowd, they're looking for the story. They're looking for the message. They're looking for something else. Now, when I learned how to do both in one setting, which, it's just fusing 2 different styles and making it one, I think that's when I'll truly become like what I want to become in battle rap. But that's a hard thing. You have to master one and then master the other, and then.
And you have to be good enough at the poetry side of it to like get a battle rap crowd to really like understand and react to what you're doing.
Right. You have to get them to understand. Not only that, you have to put the feeling in it, because one thing about battle rappers is, we try to keep the exterior emotion at the forefront. You know what I mean? Like the toughest parts of people are in battle rap. I don't think everybody's walking. Like, let's be honest, not everybody is walking around with a shotty in their pants.
No, we know this though. As fans, we know this. It's the same as like we know that in wrestling they're not actually like beating the shit out of each other.
Right, they're not making each other bloody or anything like that. There's a lot of
we know
this.
We're here for the entertainment.
But it's the image of it. If I can create the image that I'm doing and I can make it believable or I can make it sound dope, right? Then yeah, it's the entertainment. But as a writer, as the person doing it, I'm keeping that at the forefront because I know that's what you want to see.
Yeah.
Whereas in poetry, if you if we go back to the full circle, the thing I dropped, right? There's a lot more pain in that. There's a lot more like, it's a lot more like, man, what is he going through right now that makes him feel this way? And you're listening for that. You're listening for why this matters right now and why am I connected to it? So like the replay value in a poem is not the same replay value in a battle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I did that same poem on stage, you're not gonna get the same. You have to like. You're not gonna get the same level of. You're gonna like. I feel like battle rap. If we do it like this, battle rap is a lot more egotistical and poetry is a lot more feeling.
Well, because battle rap is a literal competition, thus breeding egos, whereas poetry, I mean, is to a degree a competition, but at the same time, I feel like it's a little less competitive, maybe.
I'll tell you this.
Competitive in a different way.
Poets are competitive, but the focal point is the poem. It is the feeling of the poem. Yeah. I can compete with someone like Usman, right? And I can compete with him all day long. Shout out to Usman, man. Like, shout out to all the poets that I've mentioned so far. But I like, you know what I'm saying? I could compete with him in a slam. I could be like, yo, my writing style is better than yours, right? He could be like, what? Nah. Or my subject matter is better than yours. I can, because the fans score. How you get to the next round in poetry is you have to score high. So each round, you have to, like, you know, the fans are like, yo, scale of 1 to 10, and then you divide, you know, you take you drop the lowest and the highest, and then you get the median of what your scores are. Then they add those scores up, and that's how you know you make it to the next round. You have to beat everyone else's score to make it to the next round. To win, you have to literally have beaten everybody in that round. So, you can, like, ride the middle and then win the last, and then win the third round. Right, you can ride the middle to the second round and then win the third, and then you've won the whole thing. So it's an interesting concept as far as the way poetry is presented. It's still 3 rounds though. You know what I'm saying? So like I'm still used to writing 3 rounds of material. The difference is I can compete with the poet, but if I'm not putting the emotion out or I'm not putting out that performance that allows me to get the high score, it doesn't matter. I'm going to lose, right? When you're looking at it from the standpoint of battle rap, I can't ride. It's me and you for 3 whole rounds. It's not like 8 other poets. It's me and you, one-on-one, and it's me versus you. So the competitiveness is I have to beat you in ring right now. Like, this round matters. I have to beat you here. Here and now, you have to lose.
And that's the mindset that I feel like a lot of battlers take, but then you run into issues where, like, as a fan, to me, I don't feel like anybody wins or loses battles in New England because they're not judged. So as a fan, I don't look at it like somebody's got a winning record. 9 out of 10 people in New England don't have a winning record because they don't have a record. They have a bunch of exhibition matches, and I enjoy their work, and I watch them, and I enjoy their work, and I big up their work because I enjoy it. I'm a fan of it. But, like, as a fan, even with, like, if you watch, like, the WWE versus, like, AEW lists every win-loss record for their – it's an important thing in AEW is your win-loss record. They don't play that up in the WWE, even though WWE superstars have a win-loss record. You won't see them at the beginning of the match be like, oh, Roman Reigns is 5-0 and Seth Rollins is, like, 3-4. Whereas in like AEW, they make a big deal out of that. That's something that the fans now are watching for, is your win-loss record. When like right now, arguably T-Top has one of the best actual win-loss records in the URL. He's not even considered one of the top dudes, but he's won so many judged battles on like UFF and like other judged battles in the URL. He inadvertently became one of their best records in for win-losses.
Well,
Because who else
we
out
also
there
look at,
is even doing judged battles on the URL?
here's my thing with judge battles. I'll say this. When you get to a point, I think both can exist. I don't think main events should be judged. Let's do it this way. Main event battles, big battles, should not be judged and should be left up to the opinion. So you can be popular, right? But to get popular, you still have to win.
I feel like you'd have an easier time becoming popular if you won 5 judged battles in a row. I'm more likely to watch your battles than if you told me, "Oh, I won my last 5 battles in a row and they weren't judged." Because like all 5 of your ops could also tell me that they won that battle. I mean, unless they like choked or did something that clearly lost them the battle, if there's any debate, they'll just sit there and tell you that they won. And then, as far as they're concerned, their win-loss record's the same.
Let's look at it like this though. What I'm saying is like hear me out all the way through first. Ready? Check this out. If I'm battling, right? I come in as a battler. It's like let's say I have 4 battles. I think all 4 battles probably should be judged, right? As you get higher and higher, like, you know, when you get to that marketing level, like when you're marketable, like now you're Mr. Marketable, right? You still have to, like, now you're going through, like, you have 7, 8, 9, 10 battles where you've made it. Like, now you're like, let's say you're 10-0. Let's say you're 10-0. Once you get to that, then all right, cool, you're 10-0, and so like someone like, let's use real examples. Let's say I'm battling in the boiler room, right? And I've beaten everybody in the boiler room. I'm 10-0. All my battles were judged. I'm 10-0 in the boiler room, right? Now we get to the main event, right? We get to the main event, and it's a big event. It's a big main event, right? So now I'm 10-0. Now I'm at the big main event. Both parties are very marketable. They're both 10-0, right? That battle shouldn't be judged.
See,
only because in that main event battle, I want marketing wise, I want that battle to be debated. I don't want them to have to clap, and I don't want either stock to go down. So if I'm being like, as a league owner, yeah, like if I'm like, all right, GS versus Skoot is the main event. That battle doesn't get judged. However, every battle on the card, every other battle does, which means like I always know that I'm not always gonna be at the main event. Like I know I'm not always gonna be the main event, which means that any battle that I have that's not the main event will be judged.
And
so then it's like,
I agree with that to a degree.
If I start losing, right, the less likely I am to get to the main event because it's going to be documented that I'm losing.
Yeah, and they need that to a degree, and I agree with that to a point. I feel like I feel like the main event should still be judged, but I feel like they should bring in exhibition matches more. Like when Grind Time was still judging battles a lot. If you watch, there's a couple matches that they literally labeled as exhibition matches, and it would be a preview of like a full 3-round battle that was to come that was going to be judged. So then those 2 MCs would have like a 1-rounder where they could do whatever they want without like having to worry about, okay, this is judged. I have to rap a certain way. I have to perform a certain way. I'm looking to get points in the judge's eyes. So they would have the exhibition matches where they could then show you, okay, this is how creative I can get. This is what I can do when there's no pressure. It's just me trying to show you and entertain you, show you what I can do, show you why you need to watch my upcoming 3-round battle with this dude on the next card, where I battle him for, let's just say, the No Coast New England title. Maybe they have CJ versus Beretta Broke do like a 1-round like little promo. Not even on a card. Maybe have them just meet up and battle somewhere. Like it doesn't even the promos don't even necessarily have to be in front of the fans.
Right.
as far as I'm concerned. You could have
Like,
them meet up and battle on like a street corner in Rochester for all I care. And
yeah.
like,
Like for me, I think that's for me, that's one of the main things, right? Like it is, you want the best of like, I want my two best. And I mean, and then that way you can still have champions, and then you can have contenders if you're
yeah,
going that, like, you know what I mean? So like in my
it
head,
draws
right,
fans
it's
in.
like,
Having a champ draws fans in. I'm telling.
right. So like, all right, if I'm 10-0, right? And as the champ, you're always going to be in the main event. This is, you know what I mean? You can always be in the main event. So this kid, like, if someone comes in, like, yeah, now your record matters because you're holding the title.
Look at
So
Killer
like
Chris,
now
for example. He won the 656 championship. Nobody knew who he was. This guy has literally been battling for like, he's been battling since like 2010. He literally battled on a Red Bull, on like the Red Bull channel. Like, dude's literally battled on the Red Bull channel prior to the dude was literally in like he's like on like the bonus features for like 8 Mile or some shit, and nobody knew who he was. And
right,
then he wins the 656 championship, which is a league that nobody had ever heard of. But they made him a nice fucking belt, and they judged every battle, and he won that. So then when he came to battle Josh Smith, everybody in that crowd was like, okay, I'm ready to hear what this dude's got to say. I want to see what this dude. This is a 656 champion. We don't even give a shit about the 656 league, but there were still people there going, well, he's the 656 champion, though. I want to see something. I'm still trying to see this.
no, and that's a fair assessment. But when you're talking about win-loss records, though, that's why I said, like, all right, the main event, like for instance, Skoot Moesby has never had a main event. So that means every battle that I've had would have been judged up to this
Yeah.
point. So if you're looking at if you ask me, my win-loss record right now is 2-2.
Yeah.
Right, and on let's just say Premier is 2-2, right? But my win-loss record at Boiler Room is 1-0.
Yeah.
And then you look at my record on ECCM, now known as No Coast, it's 1-0, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So if we're going by that, you go, okay, so Skoot doesn't, so you can look at my whole, like, all right, and you can look at the leagues and go, well, Skoot's really won every time he's, most time he wins most times. Up to bat, he usually wins, right?
Yeah.
So then, like, someone goes, nah, but to get to even be considered for a main event spot, he needs 10 wins in this league.
Exactly.
10 wins.
I mean,
So,
that's just the way battle rap is set up on the highest levels.
Well, no, it's not. Believe it or not, it's not. If I'm Mr. Marketable, right? If I put on a camera every day on live and been like, hey yo, Adverse trash, garbage, nobody, he's just shit, da da da. And then Adverse, being a person who's battled more than me, goes, who the fuck you think you talking? And then he takes me in a battle. If the battle has hype enough, I'm at the main event. If the league owner sees stock in the battle, I'm the main event. If I have views, I'm the main event. You can literally just place that person. That's why we can have someone like a rising rookie. We can have like a quote unquote, let's say a LeBron James in New England, where he starts off as a tryout battle, right?
Yeah.
And next thing you know, in like 6 months, he is literally the main event, and he is treated as such. If you go by this level, it doesn't matter how marketable you really are. Like, yeah, I want you to be marketable, so still be marketable, but I want you to win battles.
Yeah.
So now, like, so if you're even if you're at mid tier, top tier, like if you are not the main event, if you are not at the top of the card, if you are not that, your battle will consistently be judged unless you have a championship to go after. If the league goes, I want a champion, now it's about the title. Well, then you can make it that. So then you'll have a lot of people who have different so like if the league, let's say the league starts out, if I could go 10-10, I can't challenge someone like Saint because he has he has 15 to 30 wins on Premier, right? I can't challenge him he can be like, yo, I have more wins than you. I'm like, you also have more battles than me. But if you look at the percentage level and the percentage is this, and that, like it's the same. If it's like 33% on both sides, 33 and a third percent on both sides, then the battle makes sense. So Saint has to come out to see me, and that battle probably will be judged unless it has a lot of market value in which it's pushed to the main event. So then neither one of us loses record, but we get to prove to one another that, yo, I'm a formidable opponent. And someone like Saint, who's very popular, still can boost up someone who has a lower win-loss record in Premier because of the fact that the percentage is the same. I think it's, for me, it's that's kind of why I say like the main events don't technically need to, because I think as artists, you don't want the pressure of being judged for the most part.
Yeah, I doubt there's very few battlers that I've seen that realistically want every one of their battles judged.
Right.
Killer Chris is one of the few battlers that I've seen that wants all his battles judged.
So here's the compromise as far as the leagues are concerned. Yo, if you get to a point where you're marketable and your battles are worth main eventing and you have a great record, yo, there's no pressure. Here's the main event. Go out there, do you, because we want the best footage we possibly can. And we've restricted you for so long. Yo, here's your chance to take the gloves off. Go ahead and main event. You've proven that you're popular. You're proven that you can win battles. You're proven that you can come 3 rounds all the time. You're proven that. Bro, go out there, do you, have fun in the main event, and let loose. And I think then it takes that stress off. And then you want to continuously be in that slot. But you can't always be there. You have to, once you get that main event piece, now you're not always going to be the A side.
That's what I feel like a title would help with, though, is like determining, like, all right, without a win-loss record and without like something to achieve, there's not, like, right now, if you battle for Premier Rap Battle League, there is realistically nothing that you can achieve other than a big name battle, because they don't have a title. There's no actual win-loss records other than on their one event a year that they do that's judged. So there's no actual win-loss record other than, okay, this group of fans said I won and stuff like that. I feel like having a win-loss record would motivate certain people. Maybe it would change. It would create some much-needed change. I feel like, because right now I could ask like half of New England battle rap at least, what exactly are you battling for? And what are they gonna tell me? Like bragging rights, a little bit of money.
Money, yeah. There's not
themselves, their pride. There's nothing to gain from that. Like if you asked any wrestler in any wrestling league, anywhere, what they were wrestling for, they'd tell you the title. I'm trying to be the champ. Yeah. I'm trying to be the fucking champ.
But see,
ask anyone in ECCM what they're battling for. Ask anyone in No Coast what they're battling for. To be the fucking champ.
Yeah, I agree. But my mindset is to, as an artist, right? You do want that artist a chance to not care and just kind of do, because one thing about
if they judged all the battles, they could even do whole cards that were unjudged, like how Premier does the one card a year that's judged. They should do it the other way around. All the cards should be judged. Then they have like an all-star game every year, something like that, like maybe the super card, where they just that's like the all-star game. You show up, you just bring your best shit. It's not judged. You have fun.
Like it would be like but see, to me, that's like what we would call the night of main events. Every card has a judging thing, right? And it's just like what you're saying. I don't disagree with the title, the championship.
It gives you something to work for. It gives the fans something to, like, your specific fans.
It gives you incentive, because the reason why you battle is to prove you're the best, right? And the only way you can prove for the fans. The only way people see you having the being the best is if you're holding something that says you're number one. For every league, for every opponent or every counterpart to you, they want to knock you off because they want to be number one. I get that level of it, right?
It could create a lot of interesting exhibition matches. Like at some point, they could have the Premier Rap Battle League champion versus the No Coast New England champion, or like things like that.
If that to me only happens if one, everybody claimed if everybody said, okay, like someone like me who reps the Boiler Room and Premier, right?
Yeah.
If I took, I would feel like I would have to pick Premier. Like, you have to be like, all right, if everybody in the roster was like, okay, if this is your roster, this is what it is, you're locked in here. That's when titles really, really matter. Because now if battle rappers were to have loyalty to a league, strictly like, okay, I'm only battling the guys here. Now when you see a league like Premier versus 413 and they all had champions, what would happen is you would get to that one card a year where all the leagues get together and say, my champ is the best, and this is the ranking of the champions. So here we are, right? So this champ has never battled over at ECCM. Now let's just say one year, they make a different separate YouTube channel where it goes mass leagues, right? And then now we have one night a year where all the leagues get together, and if
that's
it's the
main
premier
issue.
champ, if
where it would drop.
No, but I've already fixed that issue with a whole separate YouTube.
But then who runs that channel?
All of them do.
Yeah, I guess.
They split they have to split everything.
It is possible.
Ways.
It is possible.
That's possible because everybody's like, I remember there was a huge well, who's gonna run the league or who's gonna? Well, that's simple. To make it interesting, you would do something like, all right, if you do it one time a year, that means every league gets the same opportunity. It's just a different YouTube channel. So here we go, like a mass YouTube page where like this is literally like, all right, every league in Massachusetts. Here's the battles we want. This one is literally one card a year, so it's not like you have to upload to this all the time.
No, yeah, exactly.
You get and you all split the dividends of that YouTube channel equally. Y'all all can see how much you're making because you all have the password. All the major league owners have the password, so you know what the dividends should be, and that should be a 4 split. So we're talking about the 4 top leagues, and then you say, okay, if I do all champions, all rookies. So these are the rookies from. Let's say Jordan Wright. I say Jordan Wright is a rookie for 413. And then I say Reckless is a rookie for Premier. And these 2 rookies are freaking fire. These two guys need to see each other. Okay, cool. Mass League, one time a year, they're going to be at the bottom of the card, the best rookie versus the best rookie from 413 and Premier. Boom. Then you have NBA and let's say the Boiler Room. The 2 best rookies from there. Boom. Those 2 are going to go at it. Just because and I'm only doing this by the regard of how we see the leagues. So the leagues are, then you have like the Boiler Room champion. Let's say fucking Josh Smith is the Boiler Room champion versus the NBA champion is Benson. Boom, there you go. Then you have, the
Real quick though, shout out to iGrind because they do actually give out awards at most of their events. I totally forgot about that. They actually do give out awards.
So then you say like the main event, right? Yeah. Is, let's say, then you have like the 2 best. Again, you go back to a 413 versus Premier. Then you might do a mix-up. So you might say Chesori from 413 versus Gutter from Premier.
Yeah.
And then Drake, you might do like sticking with the same people. Like you might do Nino Bars versus Dre Lights, right? This is random. Wouldn't want to see that, just like on a random basis. Now you have these mix-ups, and then you have the final bout, which is the 2 best leagues going at it, and we'll say, Dre Lights is the champion. We'll say Dre Lights is the champion at 413, right? And then you say like someone like the champion at Premier, and then you
like a Wes Landry or like a J2 maybe a Mr.
Right,
like that.
Something like that, and then. One time a year, you see all these belts. It's like the night of champions, the night of, the night where everybody just collectively comes together. And how do you divvy it up in the room? So you figured out the online session, how you divvy it up in the room. Well, easy. ECCM, 1 year ECCM is going to run it. The whole, the main thing is the ECCM event technically.
Yeah.
They're going to run it. They're going to do everything, and you guys are going to help them run it by with payments and shit like that, but ultimately in control of the event would be ECCM. or No Coast Valley or whatever, right?
Yeah.
The next year, 413 runs it. The next year, Boiler Room runs it. As long as you're on the same schedule, it doesn't, you know what I mean? That one time a year. So now, not only do you get different venues, you get different visuals because every league has a different way they run.
Yeah.
So now you have this. So now the money at the door will go to the league that ran it that year, and you guys split the dividends of the internet because it was you guys as battlers, and you guys did do the marketing, which allows the competition to be a little different. Now, if the league owners can't get on that type of same page, then there's an issue. But that's to me that's a really basic rundown of how that could go.
Yeah, no, it's definitely tough to get the league owners on the same page. People have been asking for like TBL versus Premier for a long time, or NBA versus Premier, and they're just now like TBL versus Premier just now finally seems like it might maybe happen once this is all over. Because it won't, but it is the closest that we've come.
Well, it's the battle rappers representing their league. This is where battle rappers are going, all right, yeah, I'm Premier, and yo, we're going to smoke these cats. Yeah. When you're looking at it from that standpoint, yes, it could happen. But then if they were like, it's TBL versus Premier, it wouldn't, because, you know, the way Premier wants something shot versus the way ECCM wants something shot, or the way TBL may want something shot, is going to be different. Who's going to get the charge at the door? Who's running the event?
And that's what they've been trying to figure out. That's like the main.
But see, in my mind, right, this is where it becomes an interesting. I feel like it's an interesting thing. Like, okay,
well, when it's only two leagues, it's a little easier. You could just split the venue, and then you just have to. The thing is, each league would just have to pick one representative from their staff to like run the event for their league, and then the other league would pick one guy. They'd work together. They'd set it up. It'd be at a venue that neither of them had used. They'd find a venue somewhere in between the two locations. You split it 50-50 at the door between the leagues, and that's it. As far as where it drops online, I like your idea of a separate channel. If they could get to a point where that happened often enough to warrant a second channel, that'd be a great solution. Otherwise, if they did do a whole event, if they could make it an even number of battles, they could, in theory, as long as there was two main events, they could, in theory, just split the drops between the two pages, however they wanted to do that. But there's definitely ways it can happen.
You have to decide who, again, you have to decide
who gets what drop.
Who gets the better. So you can have two main events. Let's say you have two main events. This is why I can see the arguments now. You can have two main events, right?
But you got to decide that before they happen. So in case one of them doesn't turn out so good, you've already decided, all right, like let's say one event is GS versus Just DJ and another main event is like West versus you've already then decided before the events even happened that let's say Premier's taking West versus Vic, TBL takes Just DJ versus GS. And those are just random names I'm throwing out there. But and then let's just say like West chokes for 3 rounds. Premier can't then go, oh well, we don't want this battle because he choked for 3 rounds. No, you already decided that before the event to avoid the argument of who gets what. You decide it before the battles happen so that there's no debate and like, oh, this one came out trash, I don't want it. No, that's what you agreed to. You signed something, like that's what you're taking. You get XX and X, no matter how it comes out.
If you do an even split of the, you get 2 main events and this is the main event of one, this is the main event of the. Exactly. Yeah, you could do it like that, but then this is still like, and I feel like that is another solution that can happen. But I feel like, again, you're looking at it from the. If you're looking at it from the legal owner standpoint, I think it gets closer every time the battle rappers make this push. It gets closer.
Yeah.
Right. Because I think the closest thing we're gonna get to it is Boiler Room versus King of the Five. I think they're more likely.
That's actually happening. I'm pretty sure. Boiler Room or not Boiler Room. TBL is doing a TBL versus King of the Five card.
So I think that it's most likely to happen.
But that's just because I feel like King of the Five feels like they got something to prove, so they're willing to come outside every day. They'll come outside at like 4 a.m. You'll be like, yo, come outside and battle, and they'll be out there with the bars. They'll be out there like, what you want to battle at 4 a.m.? All right, come to Brockton. And like I used to hang out with Brockton,
credit to whoever's running point, because that's where this goes to. It goes right back to the leagues have to be on the same page with the same thing. And I think a lot of the lower leagues now, I think a lot of them are willing to work together because you have bigger leagues in mass. Like King of the Five is, I would say, by the energy and the way they do things and how they do business and why they do business the way they do it, they are very much better than some leagues that I've seen in mass.
Yeah.
They're a lot more organized.
I feel like they got that card though, the TBL versus King of the Five card. I feel like the reason that that's able to happen is because from the looks of the flyer that I saw, it looks like it's going to be just a TBL card in association with King of the Five. We're like, all right, recognizing that TBL is the bigger league, they probably were like, all right, you guys can drop all the battles, but you'll give our battlers like good looks with as far as who's battling who on the card.
Right. What it is a sponsored. It's sponsored by King of the Five.
Yeah.
King of the Five is we're in the building, and I think that's a great thing. And I think even if you're looking at promotional value, right? A lot of these leagues can just buy their ways into most of these guys. Like, if I was a competitor and I see 413s looking for ad space, if I was Premier, I'd be like, yo, here's $50. Let me get ad space on that, because no league's turning down money. At the end of the day, it's a business. And then I would put a trailer together of Premier Rap Battle League in the middle, right before, and they have to put it in there because they done paid me to do it. So now, like, I made the trailer. I'm paying you $50 to do this, and there you go. So now you get the advertisement on a battle that you want. Or on all of the battles, if anything. You can be proper and it look like, okay, what? Like I gave you some bread to promote Premier Rap Battle League. Then Premier Rap Battle League is being promoted on because we got the bread.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, these small leagues are still fishing for money. So I feel like you get to the point where you do well enough, you do good enough, and you can push those types of. I mean, shit. Like we see. One thing about Apex pays for ad space. 5 o'clock Shadow pays for ad space.
Shout out 5 o'clock Shadow, media goats.
Facts. They pay for that ad space. It's not like they're just okay. We're gonna put this up there. No, they pay for the ad space.
Facts.
So when you see a battle, you assume that Apex is a part of it.
Yeah.
You assume 5 o'clock Shadow. Because they got paid, they did sponsor the battles. So you look at it from the standpoint of like, yo, boom, 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 boom. You may feel like you're helping a competition, but in the same breath, like you're getting that notoriety from battles are gonna make sense. Like if I mean, I'm not heavily in conversation with Premier, but if Premier was like, yo, are you battling at ECCM? Yeah, it's like, oh look. We're gonna give them, make sure you do us proud Premier Rap Battle League, boom, 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 and we're gonna put a trailer. We're gonna actually, pay them to put a trailer in front of your battle because you are a Premier Rap Battle League battler.
Yeah.
So you still can get that if you wanted to. I think there are so many different ways to help for the leagues to help the leagues without feeling like they're helping the leagues. That you can get this off the ground. I think if everybody stops being like, I think these leagues are very competent. They're confident, right? Because like I still remember when Dav put out, he did this thing with NBA. He was like, "Ayo, like y'all had Briz Rothstein and we had Twerk, and look at the difference in results, and like look, Premier's the fucking best and whatever." And that's cool, and we should be able to have those conversations, and we should be able to boast and be brash about, what we've accomplished as leagues against our competitions. At the same time, I feel like you have to also like, all right, cool. If I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna put Premier Rap Battle League on it. Shout out to them. Shout out to this. You know what I mean? Put money in their pockets. Because then you'll have that's a working relationship at best. It's an advertisement relationship, but it is a working relationship at best. And we know that battle rap, they are putting the advertisements out there. They're putting these things out there. Now, they can choose not to accept the money,
Yeah.
or stateside enough. But at the same time, a battle league will do it if it feels like the money is right. And I feel like that's where league owners have to be to get the fan points and the views where they want it to go. And you can even go back and forth and say, and that will help, because eventually what will happen is you can eventually get to the point where you do have a versus match, because you guys keep paying for each other's promo anyway. You might as well create something of, okay, this is what we're going to do, and you can create that working relationship. So I think there's a lot of ways to do that and make it make sense. I just think that battle rap league owners are egotistical just as much as the battle rappers are. The battle rappers are egotistical as fuck. I wouldn't like I don't think I can get a, like, let's keep it 100. If I say, yo, Skoot Moesby versus High, you think High's gonna be like, yeah, no, I doubt it.
No.
He's gonna be like, man, you ain't really proved it up yet, because that's the level of battle rap. Like, he believes he's up on a higher echelon, so you're not gonna get that. Can Skoot Moesby battle Hazy Williams? Possibly, because he's not, Hazy's not that bad. You know what I mean? But that's the, But can Skoot Moesby battle
Hazy
Hilltop?
would battle anyone if the money is right, I feel like.
Right, but that's because
Hazy's a cool dude. Shout out to Hazy.
Right, so like but then there's the level of caliber of opponent. So like, can Skoot Moesby call out Hilltop and Hilltop come running in the ring? Absolutely. Can Skoot Moesby call out Fluid and he come in the ring? Absolutely. Can Skoot Moesby call out Josh Smith and Josh Smith get in the ring? Absolutely. But we're still talking like tiered level, right? Because if I smoke all of them, all right, and it's noticeable that I smoke all of them, and I go, hey, yo, GS, where you at? GS is more inclined to look at me like, yo, he just smoked all the, yeah, all right, cool. You want to get your ass whooped? Fine. If I battle GS, which that battle should happen, GS, I'm right now here on Battle Hype TV. Bring your ass outside, because I need that battle. If I battle GS, right, it's the same thing. It's like, he comes outside and he says, yo, you smoked all these guys. Hey, yo, I'm with the smoke. Yo, you get smoked. Then I smoke him and I go, hey, yo, AP, where you at? Same thing. There's levels to how you approach it, but you have to prove that you can at least stand on in front of someone and make it look bad. I mean, that's what it is. And I feel like when you're you know what I mean, when you're in that level of tier where you feel like you can get certain levels of opponents, you know who you can get. If I can call out damn near anybody from Hilltop Fluid to Jordan Wright, and I could probably get them. I could probably get them like that, because they understand that my skill level is that fire. But someone who's looking at it from a branding standpoint, I might not see someone like AP, High, GS, Saint, Doe, West, Deese. I might not see them till 2 years from now.
Yeah.
Maybe a year and a half from now. I might not see, you know what I mean? I might not see, Dystopia was an interesting match for me. So I've learned to just take battles and, shit, DZ the Gift called me out for a battle. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, that'd be interesting. But yo, real quick, on that note, I do gotta go mow my lawn, so I do gotta get out of here.
Yeah, bro.
This is definitely the best 3-hour interview I've ever done. So we're gonna be dropping this in multiple parts. Watch out for this if you're a fan watching this. Watch out for this. It's gonna be coming out in multiple parts. Probably gonna do 4 different parts or some shit, maybe 3. And shout out to Skoot Moesby for coming through, giving us the fire interview, the fire conversation. I really appreciate you and all you do for the local scene. And definitely looking forward to seeing you back in the ring come late 2020, early 2021, hopefully, whenever we can actually get back to this battle rap shit and get back into the ring. Do have a better rest of your day and stay safe and healthy out there, brother.
It's Skoot Moesby, man. Earn your spot before earn is your spot, baby. We out.
All right. Peace out.
All right, man.